Television, the 21st of April, 2025. Answer me, the mother said. Was it you? The servant remained silent and did not answer. He rubbed his eyebrows in frustration and let a sigh out. The mother said, I know it was you. I saw you on television. It is all over the news. The servant replied, God creates too many people who look alike. The mother said, but I know you. I bore you and I raised you myself. I know the way you talk. It was you. The servant replied, what if it was? What would it change? Why are you calling me for that? The mother said, I just wanted to make sure. The servant said, you didn't make sure. As I said, God creates many people who look alike. The mother replied, you do know that a believer would never lie, right? The servant said, and now you're calling me a liar. The mother said, I'm not calling you a liar, but I saw you on TV, and you are denying it. The servant replied, Mom, I'm not denying anything. I'm not sure what you want me to say. Even if it were me, what would it change? The mother replied, it would change a lot. My heart would be calmed down. The servant said, so if I don't calm your heart down, you would call me a liar. The mother said, are you a Muslim or not? You should never lie to anyone, let alone your mother. The servant said, I would never lie to God, but I don't care about anyone else. The mother replied, what does that mean? The servant replied, it means stop asking me questions about it. If I avoid the question, it means I don't want to answer. If you make me lie through persistence, it is on you. I do not lie. The mother said, I saw you on TV. The servant said, I do not care. Stop obsessing over it. The mother replied, okay. The servant said, okay, bye, Mom. Then the servant hung up the phone and looked at those around him and said, I told you I do not want this to be aired to the public. One of the men replied, is it only for your mother that you would prevent the benefit and knowledge from reaching those who need it? The servant, frustrated, scratched his head and said, you are right, but I don't want to be known, that's all. The man said, if you are not known, then people would not pay attention or listen to you. The servant said, why would I care if they listen to me or not? If a person has a question, they are welcome to come and ask the question. Other people do not need to listen or hear the question or the answer. It doesn't matter what they think if the question does not pertain to them and their lives. Another man replied, I stand by my earlier counsel. We need to continue broadcasting the sessions to the public. This way, courts from around the world would be able to tune in and apply the same judgments and laws if they get a similar case. The first man agreed, saying, which is why we have to air the sessions. The servant said with a groan, fine. Then he sat down and told the guards to bring in the first person through the gate. As such, the court sessions began. The first session is dedicated to Muslims. The second is dedicated to Christians, and the third is dedicated to Jewish people. Each person would present their question on the podium, standing in front of everyone else who would act as a witness to what they are saying, including the servants, who would explain and answer the question to whoever presented it. There were guards standing on each side of the stage, and assistants and note-takers behind the servant's chair. Each one would be assigned a task that corresponds to their roles. Note takers would be taking important notes and unique cases and their responses. Then they would deliver copies of them through the mail to other courts around the globe. Some assistants would be ready to recite from the holy books when asked to do so. In front of each of them was laid the holy books of God, the scriptures, the Quran, the Gospels, and the Bible, as well as some papers containing collections of quotes from the holy books. The servant was brought a Jewish man, who greeted him and stood on the podium. He was sniffling, so he blew his nose into the handkerchief and put it back into his pocket. "I'm sorry," he said upon standing at the podium. "No need to be sorry," the servant replied.